Qigong is an age-old tradition for health and longevity that has been around for thousands of years. This Qigong set is called Returning to the Spring because it revitalizes the body, sharpens the mind, improves upon strength, flexibility, and endurance, while helping to alleviate stress from everyday living. This series has 18 separate movements that are done either 18 times on each side or 36 times total. After familiarizing yourself with each technique, try to keep pace with the instructor or do as many as you can until you can complete the entire workout. Head and shoulder rotations help to alleviate tension in the neck and shoulder region. Follow along as best you can. The future movements will have detailed explanation prior to execution. Crane circles elongate the muscle of the arm, strengthen the waist, build coordination, and train the eyes to follow the hands. Key points to remember while doing this technique. feet are shoulder width apart. When you sit, the knees bend over top of the toes. Sit like you're sitting in a chair. It's important that the arms perform a full circular rotation. When the hands pass above the head, they should be no more than shoulder width apart. The eyes follow the hand that is behind, and keep the abdomen in while doing the exercise. Notice when executing the crane, all the fingers meet at a single point and the wrist is flexed. When executing the palm, the fingers should remain together and be flexed back to strengthen the forearm. The next technique is fist rotations. This exercise is very good for strengthening the yin muscles on the inside and the back of the legs, strengthening the lower back, and loosening the shoulders. To enter into the correct posture for this technique, the feet should start together, the toes open at a 45-degree angle, the heels then open at a 45-degree angle outward with the toes pointing inward. The knees touch as you sit, and the fist goes in between the legs, with the legs gripping the fist firmly to activate the muscles on the inside of the leg. fourth technique is palm rotations. Its effects are similar to that of fist circles. This technique strengthens the legs, trains the waist, and develops good hand-eye coordination. The knees should remain bent over top of the toes, the waist guides the movement, and the eyes follow the hands through the duration of the entire exercise. As the hands descend beside the leg, you should sit low, like you're scooping water from a bowl. As the hands rise above the shoulder, the wrists begin to rotate, and as the palms descend to the back, you should sit like you're sitting in a chair without straining. The next movement is palm to toe stretch. This technique strengthens the thigh muscle while stretching the hamstring of the opposite leg. It also conditions the lower abdomen while bringing greater flexibility to the lower back. An important point with this technique is you must work within your own range of flexibility until you can work the technique comfortably in its entire range of motion. The fundamental of this technique is that you sit the weight on the rear leg and sit low like you're sitting in a chair. Do not lean, but drop the weight into the legs, allowing the hips and legs to carry the movement. The toes of the front leg are raised and pulled back to gain greater flexibility in the calf and hamstring. Once greater flexibility is gained through palm to toe stretch, the next technique is elbow to toe. This technique, while appearing complicated, uses the momentum of the upper body to gain greater flexibility in the legs. The difference with this technique is the arms must perform a circular motion to gain momentum to push the elbow towards the toe. Starting with the feet together, the arm circles inward to the body and out to the side. The hands should rotate until they end up palms facing each other. The hand on top travels below the waist to create a crane, while the lower hand becomes a fist and the elbow is pushed towards the knee. It's important that you familiarize yourself with this technique before performing long repetitions. The next movement is chest expansions. This technique is good for opening up the chest cavity and expanding the lung capacity. As you stand, you inhale and expand. As you sit, you exhale and contract. The next technique is flexing the iron body. This movement is an isolation exercise, teaching one to isolate the muscle groups, starting with the forearm, the bicep, the shoulder, traveling all the way down the body to the calves and eventually to the bottom of the feet. The breath should be coordinated with the technique. As the wrists flex backward, you breathe out. As the wrists relax forward, you breathe in. As you become more proficient with each repetition of the movement, you can vary which muscle group you isolate. This second part to flexing the iron body is an optional exercise that is more challenging. As you sit, the thighs become parallel to the ground, the back is straight, and you bring the elbows to the knees. As you rise, you relax all the muscles of the body and breathe in. The iron cross expansion builds and conditions the muscles of the shoulders, arms, and chest. As you sit forward and exhale, the arms expand outward and must remain at least shoulder height. Notice how the wrists turn outward as the weight sits forward. The body should act like a pendulum. As you sit back, the rear leg is bent and the front leg is straight, and vice versa as you sit forward. The yin expansion is the sister movement to the iron cross expansion. You breathe in as the hands separate. You breathe out as the hands come together. This movement works the yin muscles on the inside of the arms and chest. This movement can be done by itself as an isolation technique as seen here, or you can add the vertical expansion as seen in the next sequence. Brushing the floor is a very effective exercise because it has a yin-yang effect on the muscles of the leg, abdomen, and lower back. It elongates the muscle on the inside of the thigh and the back of the calf, while simultaneously conditioning the muscle of the supporting leg. To begin with brush the floor technique, you step back with the foot to a length of 2 to 2.5 shoulder widths apart, with the front toe in line with the back heel. As you lean forward to brush the floor, the back leg becomes straight and the front leg bends so it's parallel to the ground. The back becomes level and the knee acts as a brace to support the weight of the upper body. As you sit back, the weight shifts to 70% on the back leg, 30% on the front leg, and the toe of the front leg is raised. The hands cross in front of the chest. As you go down, you breathe out. As you recover, you breathe in. The second version of brushing the floor is an optional exercise that isolates the muscles of the leg and lessens the pressure on the lower back. Lifting the sky is a powerful movement for developing the strength of the lower extremities, building stamina, and expanding the lung capacity. As you rise, you breathe in. The hands push above the head, fingers together and facing each other. The eyes follow the hands. As you sit, you breathe out. The fists extend from the body simultaneously, parallel to the floor. The technique pushing the horizon strengthens the hip, knee, and ankle joints, and strengthens the lower extremity of the body, while building stamina and increasing the lung capacity. As the feet separate to 2 shoulder widths apart, the thighs become parallel to the floor with the toes facing straight ahead. The palms extend away from the body with the fingers pulled back, and you breathe out. As you rise, you breathe in, bringing the feet and fists together simultaneously. The back should remain straight at all times. Internally, bridging heaven and earth strengthens the heart and the lungs. Externally, it has the same effects as pushing the horizon. As you sit, you breathe out, keeping the feet pointing straight ahead, knees bending over top of the toes, thighs parallel to the ground, and back straight. As you rise, the hands above the head, and breathe in. Building a horizontal bridge strengthens the arms and opens the chest, while stretching the inside of the arm, the lats, the rib cage, and opening the hip. As you sit to either side of the technique, extending the palm, the shoulder should be on the inside of the knee to train the waist. As you recover, the hand should extend directly across the ground. Eyes follow the hands. This is the footwork for flexing the sinews and tendons. The weight rolls naturally from the ball of the foot to the heel with no tension. This technique strengthens the ankle and wrist joints while conditioning the calf and tricep muscle. It also aids in gaining balance, coordination, and equilibrium. Flexing the knees to chest is a preliminary exercise that is less impactful than a sit-up. It works the hips, the abdomen, and the thigh muscle. With the hands joined above the head, the knee is lifted to the chest, and the arms descend to just over the knee. Breathe out as the hands descend. Breathe in as the hands expand over top of the head. The last technique, leg pendulum, strengthens the lower abdomen while slimming the waist, aids in balance and flexibility, and conditions the shoulders and hips.